I mean, there aren't many people that I know who are really loving the coronavirus situation. With the quarantine and all the social distancing guidelines, I mean, you get to see your friends less, you leave the house less. It's ridiculous and it truly sucks. But I mean, with every bad situation, you can find some positives. For me, the positive that I found during coronavirus is that I've been able to communicate better because I've learned different ways of communicating with the mask on. Because you still need to get your point across, but you don't get the facial expressions that you usually get, which is usually how I mostly communicate. But now with the masks and coronavirus, I've been using hand gestures a lot more. I've been using symbols a lot more, and just really trying to get my point across any way that I can without using facial expressions to follow social distancing guidelines. There's so many different ways that we can communicate other than the typical ways that we use. I mean, body language and hand gestures are so big for communicating. It just really gets your point across and can really convey emphasis so well that it's almost an underutilized form. A lot of us forget because of how heavily we use facial expressions. But due to coronavirus, we've all had to use body language and your hand gestures much more to get your point across so everybody easily can understand the ideas that you were trying to convey. It amazes me how much people have changed just so that they can properly convey their ideas through the coronavirus and all the social distancing guidelines. Mainly with hand gestures and body language, which is really amazing. I mean, everybody's changing how they're communicating so that they can follow these guidelines so that we can return back to a semi-normal life soon enough. It's amazing to see how much people can change over such a short period of time. It is way too easy to focus on the negatives when thinking about the coronavirus. But one of the most important things to think about is everything that has gone right during the coronavirus. Everything that you have done to better yourself during this time. And that's the most important part. I mean, for me, I've improved my communication skills, which will help me academically, and it will help me professionally, as I can communicate in different ways and use different forms of communication. With all the masks on and everything, all our voices are often muffled. But the most important thing is just to articulate your words and really enunciate so people can truly understand what you're saying. And just be patient with everybody, as everybody's having difficulty hearing everybody, and just understand that everybody's going through the same thing. As we all just need to be patient and understand that most people aren't going to get what we're saying on the first go around. It's difficult, but it's just something that we all need to adjust to. And none of us really want to, but it's just something that we have to do to get back to normal life. Find something that beneficial that happened to you during this time period. I mean, it can be the smallest thing as refining a skill or even picking up a new one. But just find something beneficial that happened during this time period and think about it. Think about everything that it could do for you in your academic life, but most importantly, what it could do for you in your future career. This is a tough time for all of us, but we all have to think about the takeaways that can be beneficial from this. A lot of it is negative, but there are benefits.